This morning and yesterday, we had a very good session, and I changed the format because I brought 10 of our patients, ranging from all spheres of health, cancer, particularly diabetes, high blood pressure, whatever you call it, we fix it. When I left Nassau in 1968, I never knew that I would come back to this Nassau, New Providence, Bahamas, and not help them fellas in the hospital get us well. Because when I was in America, I told the people in Chicago, it was about 5,000 people, that when I go home, we need doctors. They can embrace you regardless once you have your qualification. You have to take it. But when I came home, it was a difference because you are a chiropractor or you are a natural doctor and not a medical doctor. Now tell me, what is the difference? Hello? What is the difference? You want to know?
I know.
One, I don't do surgery because I don't want to cut you. Two, I don't give you pharmaceuticals because I don't believe in them. Thirdly, I don't give you injections. Yes, I give you injections, but not with pharmaceuticals. I did acupuncture, but I didn't like acupuncture, so I put that aside. Okay? Now, I went to our doctors, but I asked questions. And I say to you, get me well. That's what I go for. And if I go because I have arthritis, or because I have high blood pressure or cholesterol, I don't want to have that for the rest of my life. I don't want to be taking medication for 50 years. I don't want you to tell me that. Worst of all, the Bahamians. I don't want to have something called diabetes. And for you to tell me I'm going to give you, whether it's dimicron or glucophage, and 3 months later I come and I say, Doc, help me because I still got it. And then you're going to tell me I must go to insulin. And then if I think I'm going to get better when you give me the insulin, I go back later and you say, you go on the most dreaded possible journey of dialysis. And I would love for our peoples to know, as well as our doctors, that when you do that, give me the statistics for our people that go on dialysis. I cry for it because I know the statistics are so bad. We have to change those ways. We don't have beds in the hospital. If we build in a hospital, they aim to put the people there to where it's still working outside. It's time for us to get well. So this morning, I'm going to start with one of my patients who've been with me from day one, 1975. And he's older practically than everybody, come up, sir, than everyone probably in this church. Come, Mr. Tynes. His name is Chauncey Tynes. He will tell you his age, and he'll tell you how, as my family, we met. And he didn't even know I was in Nassau, New Providence, Bahamas.
Church, I didn't expect this. It took you to call me, but anyhow, I'm here. First, he tell you my age, but I'm from another century, let's put it that way. And I'm in this one now. I'll be 93 next birthday. Now, you want me to tell you something about that? In 1975, I think it was, I had a muscle spasm. My left arm blown across me because I'm afraid to get it to move. So I went to the hospital, and when I got there, the doctor looked at it and said, well, Mr. Time, there's nothing I can do with this. But my wife was with me, so she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, cut it off. Doctor said, tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, come and I take it off. I said, you can't do it today? He said, no. I said, then I'm telling him what you can. So he said, well, you ain't got anything to do. Not today. Come back 7 o'clock in the morning and take it off. So when we left there, my wife said, let's go to Huyler. I said, who he is? I didn't know him then. Then she told me that's because he's a boy. But I knew Aldi and the rest of the family, but I didn't know him. I never see him. First time I saw him was when we went to that same day. And when I got there, he came from up, he was upstairs on Armstrong Street. Came down, he took out me, beat my arm, he said, oh, Mr. Todd, you don't have to take the arm off, I could fix it. I could straighten it out. But he got hit you. I said, well, I don't mind, you can't do the straightening, go ahead. Then he catch my arm, put him on the table first, and when he catch the arm and start falling, I hear all kind of bell ringing. So I stopped him, I said, wait. You better cut it off, dog, and break it off. I didn't want it broken off, I'm already cut it off. So he said, no, you take it easy, I'll get it straight for you. And he put on the arm for about an hour or so before he got it pulled down my side. Then he told me, now you got to hold it down with the next arm because you can get it again. So I done that. And I went home and he came back that evening. It was twice a day when I first started with him. And in about 6 weeks' time, he had my arm good. And that was in 1976. And my arm is still good. He had the same left arm. I said, thanks to Dr. Huyler. Some years later, I had a traffic accident. Car ran to the left side of my car and mashed it in. And mashed my left side in. And all the ribs, the spinal was disconnected. I've been to the hospital then, I take all kind of x-rays. So Dr. Huyler came on the scene again, and then he had to check me out, and I had to wear a body band sometime. I get over that. And I can tell you from that day on to this day, I am still with Dr. Huyler. And I'll recommend Dr. Huyler to anybody who needs some help. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Ladies and gentlemen, that young man is in my office practically every day, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, the one to follow Chauncey is a nurse. And she came because one of the medical doctors told her to come and see me. She will tell her story, and this is Mrs. Gibson.
Good morning, church. Good morning. It is so good to know that Dr. Philip Huyler is here on Harvest Day. Did you know food is your best medicine? I came down with arthritis in 75 and fought it for 5 years with no relief on my own. And then Dr. Degas told me, go to Philip Huyler. I said, oh, see, I've never read about him. He said, he's on Collins Avenue. Well, I went to Dr. Philip Huyler. But before I was reading this book called There is a Cure for Arthritis. Folk, when they said, read something about your ailment, that somebody did, you might do something. So the doctor that wrote the book suggested, if we eliminate well, our pains of arthritis will go away. And he told me how to do the elimination. I did it, and it worked for me. So when I found Dr. Huyler, I didn't go there because I had pain. The pain was gone, but the stiffness felt worse. Trust me, if we could forget about our taste buds, you got to forget what you like to eat and do what Dr. Huyler said, and it will work. So every time I did something he said, I prayed. I said, Lord, Dr. Huyler said this to help me. Please make it work for me. He said, cook in stainless steel pots. I said, cooking in the pots? I said, Lord. He said, cook in stainless steel pots. So make this work for me. Do you know the people that sell Salad Master say, don't use aluminum and don't use iron?
Yeah, I know about that.
And still, we still cooking in them. Because we don't believe the people. Believe Dr. Huyler. It's true. You get poisons and you get old stale food coming back and you mix it with your good food. Anyway, I had to do with the sauna in the whirlpool and the massage room. Now listen, people. If somebody touching your body and you got arthritis, it'll hurt you. And I used to make some noise in those cubicles. I used to be horrible. Because it was like, but he wouldn't stop. And I didn't say stop. And gradually, he said, oh, when you're making no more noise. I said, no, go ahead, do what you have to do. He said, you're getting better, you know. He was so encouraging. People, medical doctors will help because a medical doctor diagnosed me. He said I had rheumatoid arthritis. And I knew it was a crippling disease. And I used to tell God, it can cripple me walking. So I have to end up walking like Pinocchio. But I had to stop moving. And when I found Dr. Huyler, God answered my prayer. So much so that last September, I was thinking on Philip, and I wrote a little thank you note to him, telling him how God blessed his hands and his mind, and he remembered what he studied so he could help me. So when God puts you in the hands of people who can help you, do what they say and forget your taste buds, because food is our best medicine.
Thank you, Huyler. Dr. Bethel, please come. Don't be surprised. No, this is the other doctor. She is very recent at the clinic. Those were I think my Chauncey is now emeritus in the clinic, and Orville is behind Chauncey. This is our new arrival.
I'm the baby at the clinic. But I'm the baby with such a story at the clinic. I did not share my full story yesterday, although I was here. And I guess I didn't share it because I didn't know which one to start with. And God is truly a good God. And this is truly a wonderful day to be here, because just as food is the best thing that you can have, it can also be the worst thing. Because according to what goes into this mouth, it determines what goes on with everything that goes with this body. I did not know Dr. Huyler, didn't know who he was. And I was struggling because for 9 years I was looking for someone that believed what I believe. It makes no sense to go to anyone that does not believe what you believe. If they don't have enough faith to stand and agree with you, nothing can happen because you're working on your own. And sadly, everyone that says that they're natural, to me, is still not a natural. Because I've been to 2, and this is number 3. I don't have anywhere else to go. I'm home. I was diagnosed, and the first time I've ever shared that I am diabetic was this week. Never told anybody. I never said it. And you know why? Because I've watched too many people that have been diagnosed as diabetic use that disease to cripple themselves. Because once somebody's put something into your spirit, whether you feel those symptoms or not, you start to feel them. And then you become crippled, and you become sick, and you become ill. Because somebody says to you, you're going to die if you don't do this, and you're going to die if you do that. And then you begin to believe it. And so I always said from the day they said that to me, that they said that I have something, but I know different. Because I refuse to claim it, and I still don't. I refuse to claim it. And so I started my journey with finding someone to help me, because every medicine that they gave me made me so sick. You throw up, you're nauseous, you fever, your head swing, all these things. And medicine is not supposed to make you feel like that if it's getting you better. And so then when I looked on the TV 3 years later, the medicine that they gave me, they were telling me that if you took this medicine, come to me and I'll help you, and you can get money because it can kill you. And I'm like, I know something was wrong with this thing. And so I stopped taking the medicines on my own, and I started searching and reading and finding out what it is that's supposed to make me well, and looking for a doctor that was going to agree with me. And sadly, the medical doctors don't understand a lot of things, because that's how they were trained. They were trained a certain way. They can only do what it is that they were trained to do. If you're a teacher, you're trained as a teacher. You're trained to do what you're supposed to do. So now you can't go and be an accountant. Well, if you're very blessed, maybe. But they're trained to do what they're supposed to do. So therefore, they take on, when they don't understand, they take out the book and then they start to experiment, because it says, practice. So they practice on you. And sometimes those practice work, and sometimes those practice make you worse. And so they start practicing on me, and I decided I had enough practicing, because there were too many scars to show. And then during the summer when I went to my daughter, because I was born, must be 50 pounds. You all didn't hear that? Oh, I didn't hear that. I said I was born 50 pounds. By the time I was 10, I may have been 200 pounds. Yeah, that's normal. And for me, normal was a size 22, 24. That was normal. And then, as if that's not bad enough, as a child, my skin was bad, so I used to have sorry legs, so they used to call me 2 scoops. They didn't even need to go to the raisin bran. And it was a struggle. Now, we have a lot of struggling young people, and that is why I reach out to them, because I've been there. And there's nothing like when you've been there. You see, sometimes people will say to Dr. Huyler, well, you're not diabetic, so you don't know. Or you're not hypertensive, you don't know. But it's nothing like when you can bring patients in here that know, that struggle every single day.
Amen.
When you struggle, when you don't know what to eat. A person like me, I'm telling you, you're eating everything, you're exercising, you're doing, and you still look like, I let you fill the blanket. Okay? And so, I struggled on my own, and I lost 40 pounds. For me, a size 16 was sexy and slim. If I could get to 16, I was saying something. But to get there was always a struggle. But they laughed at me because I told Dr. Huyler I had everything from a size 10 to a 22 in my closet. Literally. Because if I went somewhere and I saw a size 10 and I looked good, I bought it. Because I had faith enough to believe that one day I was going to wear a size 10.
Thank you, Jesus.
Literally. And over the summer, I went to my daughter in North Carolina. And I said to her, I'm tired of feeling bad. But nobody knows I feel bad. Because when I close my gate behind me, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to put a smile on my face. And I'm going out there and I'm going to have my day. I don't feel well right now. You all don't realize that. I don't look so bad. All right. We can get there though. And I said to her, come take me to the bookstore. I went to the first bookstore and I said, Lord, show me which book I'm supposed to read. Ain't nothing. I said, take me to another bookstore. Spend half the day in there. Ain't nothing. She said, well, what's wrong with you? I said, I don't know. But I'm looking for something. So she took me to this store. And as we were going out the store, this book caught me. It says, Diabetes is Reversible. I said, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. She said, what you mean? I said, our book right there. I said, go get that one off the shelf. Because I'm already around here. You go back and you go get that for me. She said, Mommy, you special. I said, I know. She got the book. I read that book from cover to cover. Thick book, you know. And then I started again and I read it from cover to cover. Now in the book, it had this, I can't even remember now when I went in, I remember what it was. But whatever this was, it said that it was all to do with your stomach and getting this stomach fat gone, and you had to use this thing, but you needed a doctor to guide you. I said, now Lord, look what they tell me, I need a doctor again. So I decided, okay, I must need to find this man, this Don Colbert. He writes a lot of books. And I said, but wait, why find him? Because I don't have no money to stay here talk about race around him. I need to find someone when I go home. So when I came home, I started telling everybody how, boy, look here, I need to find me a natural doctor who's going to stand and agree with me. But I didn't tell them for what. And so the name Dr. Huyler started to come up. And when I went to Dr. Huyler, I didn't even realize that years and years before, my father used to go to him. For many years, because my dad was a naturalist. And by the end, when he knew as much almost as the doctors, he didn't have to go to anybody anymore, so he wasn't going anywhere. But anything that was natural, my daddy believed in. And so I decided, let me go to Dr. Huyler. So I called, and his nice little receptionist came on with this cherryness. Said she must be at a cherry pill. I said, this must be really the place for me. And she went on, and I said, I need to come and see Dr. Huyler. She said, were you here before? I said, no. Well, can you come today? I said, well, no. So I said, I'm going to come and find you, and I'll tell you when I can come. Now, I don't know where the devil he was. So I decided to ask my sister, who knew everything. And she knew where he was, and now I myself tell you, I was getting lost in Nassau, although I want to go. Yeah, I don't know no way. Anyway, I found him. I went there, and she said, oh, he's here today. Can you stay today? She said, and she gave me the price. I said, oh, Jesus. No, Mom, I can't stay today. I said, well, tell me what date I could come back, because I got to go work on that. So she gave me a date, and she said, so I said, well, what time? Say 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, 6 or who? 6 o'clock in the morning. I said, well, that's my kind of time, because I am from 4:30, 5 o'clock. I like that. All right. It took me 3 visits of trying to get to Dr. Huyler, because every time I come, there was something. And then the last time, she said, but you can see Dr. Foster, I said, but I don't want to see Dr. Foster. So she said, oh, why? I said, I don't know why, but the name I was given was Dr. Huyler, so I need to see Dr. Huyler. I said, I don't know who he is from Adam, nothing against Dr. Foster, but I need to see that man, because that's the man I need to go to. So she said, all right then, come September 1st. Now I'll always remember September 1st, that's my daughter's birthday. So September 1st, I was going now because I want to see this man. This time I anxious to see this man, because all this talk with this man, I can't find this man. When I get there September 1st, I saw him here. I said, what you mean here? You tell me come 6 o'clock, you hear 6 o'clock, I hear 6 o'clock. Why he ain't here at 6 o'clock? So this time Dr. Foster is sitting over on the side. And so she said, but you can see Dr. Foster. I said, I tell you before, I don't want to see no Dr. Foster. Then I felt bad because Dr. Foster right there. And I don't know Dr. Foster from Adam, so I don't want to make her feel bad. So I say, sorry, miss, I ain't nothing against you. But I need to see Dr. Huyler. So she said, you want to come back? I said, you know what? There's enough prolonging. Let me go to him, because I done almost spent this money twice. And if I go there today, this ain't going to be no more Dr. Huyler money. There's going to be some other things money. So, as I stood there, she said, hold a minute. I said, all right. And they started to pray. They said, that's the way we open. We're going to pray. And as they prayed, the Holy Spirit just bathed me. And I said, Father God, this is where you want me to be. And they prayed. And I was a blessing. as a result. And I got a blessing as a result of that prayer. And then I went over and Dr. Foster said to me, you know something? I said, what? She said, I've been looking for you. I said, what you mean you've been looking for me and you don't know me? She said, you came in here that first day when you didn't have the money. And you sat and you shared your book with me. But you were asking for Dr. Huyler. She said, and the Spirit said to me, God has a work for you to do. You have to get well. And so every day I was looking for you to come back, and I am so happy you're back. I said, well, I know this is where I need to be. The amount of love that I got from every member of that team in that office that day, I could have been in a multi-billion-dollar establishment, and I would not have received what I received in that clinic that morning. And so if you are looking for a holistic medical experience, Dr. Huyler is the place to go. Because he does not just deal with one aspect. He deals with the spiritual, he deals with the physical, he deals with everything and then some. And he's always smiling and happy. Now sometimes he's like he could be a little rough. But I only just smile at him when he's rough, because I used to people telling me I'm rough. So you can't mind. And the thing is, when you learn people, then you're supposed to be able to deal with people. So if you know somebody a certain way, what you getting upset for? He ain't upset. You getting the high blood pressure, he fine. And when he done finished drinking his green and purple and blue drink, he good, and you the one with me the hell. Anyway, when I went in there, I was 227 and a half pounds. I'm probably a couple of ounces. And so he said, why are you here? I say, son, I started to explain and tell him about this DHD or whatever the thing that was. And I say in my head, and I never even share this with him, this man ain't hearing me. He ain't listening to this D whatever D thing is and whatever. He ain't hearing me. And so he said, why else you here? And I'm trying to figure out, but I just finished telling the man why I'm here. And I wait so long to see this man, and now all he keep doing is ask me why I'm here. But you tell me this is where I'm supposed to be. Anyway, we talk and everything, and he say, now, you're going to do everything what I say? I say, that's why I'm here. And that is the key. Because I don't care which doctor you go to, if you're not willing to do what it is they say to you to do, you will not get the results that you need. And so some people, and then the thing about it is, when you start to do what they say, and you start to feel good, well, I feel good now. Then what's the first thing we do? You stop. I good now. But what we don't understand is, when you're right on that pinnacle and you think you're good, that's right where you can fall flat on your face. Because your body has not adjusted to what has been going on. And that is the point where some people say, boy, I'm going back to him because I'm supposed to be feeling good and now I feel like this. But did you keep up with it? What is the answer if you're true? You're honest to yourself, the answer is no. And the thing about it is, you could say I only had a little piece of candy, you could say I only had this or I only had that, and I can try to fool Dr. Huyler. Only person you're fooling is you. And he'll say, well, what else you want? And what else you want? Until you better come up and confess, because there's something else. Okay? And once you tell him, he said, now that's it right there. One Sunday morning, the only thing I did different, I went to communion. And I had that one little cup of grape juice. And it shocked me. But I didn't even think that would do it. And he said, but there has to be something else. And when I said, well, I went to communion, that's it. Anyway, 3 months later, I went to him September 1st. November 1st, I am proud to say that I'm actually 171 pounds. And I weigh 10, 12. You all need to clap me up better than that. Hello, somebody. So let me tell you something. So someone said, well, you had to go buy a wardrobe. I say, why? I had from 10 to 22. I said not to buy anything. I had to give away some things. And if anyone wants to come look at my label, you can come this one. First time I've ever put it on is today. I have not gotten relief. I implore you to encourage them to come and see Dr. Huyler. And it was interesting as I sat there yesterday, because it's true. When you come in, you say, I know what's wrong with you. They're his famous words. I can help you. And he can truly help you. And I would challenge that the person who thinks that they're the most well in here today is not as well as they think that they are. And so I say, take care of your bodies. Be careful as to what you put in it. And if you're not feeling well, come and see Dr. Huyler. He's going to make you exercise. He's going to make you move. He's going to make you a new person. I am a new person in more ways than one. And I go every morning at 6 o'clock. And do you know why? Because there's no doctor, and I dare say this, so someone will have to correct me, ever. I didn't have to buy anything because I had something called faith. And until you connect the spiritual with everything else that you do, and you understand how important faith is, nothing else will work, because faith without works is dead.
Amen.
And so you first have to have the faith, and you first have to have the belief, and some of the things that Dr. Huyler does will woo you, because you're not going to believe it. Sometimes I can't believe it, and as good as I think I am, because let me tell you something, I'm gooder than good. And sometimes I can't understand why this be like how I be, because I'm gooder than better than good. And still I have my days. Okay? And that is life. Because no matter how good you are, you're going to have your days. So sometimes when he tell you put your hand up and that thing come down, I say, oh Lord. Because you know you're doing everything. The amount of money that you pay for the tests that you go through. And the thing about it is, when they told me to take the test, I told them no. And the woman asked me, why? What you mean no? I said, can you tell me at the end of the day what is wrong with me when I take...
What it is? And that same cheese doodle on the outside. What is that? Coloring? If it's on the outside, you have protective matter, which is your skin. And you giving that to your baby whom you say you love, to put on that delicate inside. What is this stay? So why you all think you can talk about fibroids and endometriosis and lupus and everything else? You've got to get sick. And who giving you all this? What you call it? This yellow thing you see and give to your children? What is that? Cheese balls. Cheese balls and what else? Cheese doodles? Who gave you all this to eat? America sneeze and you all say what? How many of you in here have a microwave? Why? Why? Yesterday, when I said that, somebody said, you take one here, you take one there, you pop the popcorn right between them. That's true? Somebody said cell phone. So, you don't think the cell phone and the microwave similar? I think you're all dealing with radiation, you know. You know what happened to Chernobyl, somewhere in Russia and Japan? You know the problems they're having in Japan? I went to some not too long ago, the lady saying they are still having problems from that nuclear bomb that was dropped on Japan, and when they wake up in the morning, you don't have a green covering, you have a white covering. When did they do Hiroshima? When they did that? Just yesterday. Well, how come they still having effects from that today, and we just haven't Chernobyl and we just haven't Japan? I want you all to know and listen and learn. This is very serious. You know something? This is our harvest. I have never, ever opened one of these to say I can eat this. This ain't harvest. And I'll guarantee you, I'll give this to anybody in here and I'll test you, and not one of you will pass my exam if I give you this to try and see if you could pass. So why are you going to give it to your children? I don't mind if you eat it, but why are you giving it to your children? Because they can end up with diabetes. They can end up with arthritis. Say it again. My children what? Why? Who did it? Mommy's doing it. Parents are doing it. So you teach them. And it's hurting me. Because we're teaching them wrong. And they can grow up, and once you put that chocolate on their tongue, and when you put the candy on their tongue, and we're famous for that, everybody in here, candy. When I did this, the other day we had a team, and they said, Doc, it was 10 females who came to me and said, I was just going to put a candy in my mouth. You think a mint is a mint today? A mint used to make me cry and make me snort through my nose and through my ear in a river, because my grandma used to make it. Now you can do a smell mint. It used to kill you with mint. Now they give you that big box of sugar, and your sugar is human beings' worst enemy. And then they tell you take Equal and Splendor, and you don't know what you're putting in your mouth. So we get sick. And we want to know how we get sick. And it's so simple. What's this? This what? I bet you this ain't even juice. Hello? Oh, now what it is?
It's imitation.
So if you have imitation juice, why are you drinking imitation juice?
It's cheaper.
Thank you very much. Now I want you to realize that is one of the problems that we have. Not only that you don't know, but it's also because it's cheaper. You can get this for $1. And that tells you right there and then, because it don't even taste anything like it. If you got an orange juice and you get this, you know it's not orange juice. But it's the imitation and plenty chemicals.
And corn syrup to sweeten it.
That's the MSG. You're going further. I bet you if you drink your coconut water, it's far better, far superior. I bet you if you mix your fruit juices, it's far superior. And ladies and gentlemen, even with your simple diabetes, you have to watch out the kinds of fruits that you use. A banana will spike you so high. Secondly, grapes will spike you so high. So you have to know what you're putting in your mouth. I say the only disease is your mouth. What you put in your mouth, that's a disease. The other things you do is your condition, because you conditioned that. And we must change. And I'm not trying to put anybody out of business, but we have to make the men that make our foods better. If we buy artificial salt, what do you expect to have? You got to be hypertensive. You have to have cholesterol, and you have to have high blood pressure. We are the richest salt in the world. Where is it? So why are you all making Morton instead of Bahamian? Yeah, we have it here. I got it here. I hold it and I give it out because we used to have it before. And if you have the vitamins, the minerals, the sun, the enzymes, the amino acids, and everything else that your body requires, why do you then go and chemicalize it so that you put chemicals in your body and cause you that problem? We're having babies that have autism. I never knew autism when I was a baby. Suddenly now we have autism. You all don't think this Infamil and what you call it, lactogen, and giving babies chemical brains that you don't think they can have autism? If you drink this Ensure, who uses Ensure? All I'm saying to you this morning is, we need nutritional matter, not diet.
So what is that?
Ensure is garbage. What is Ensure? You're giving to your parents all night, all day. What is Pediasure? What is glycerol? Where is the nutrition? We're not eating properly. As Doc said to you, I will test everyone in here, not by a CAT scan or an ultrasound or any other modality, and not one of you will pass my exam. And I'm testing you. And as Pastor Burroughs said, when he came to my office, he was sitting by the door, and he said, I have to go for a nuclear scan. I said, why is that my way up for a nuclear scan? What is a nuclear scan? You can't nuclear me? I ain't fighting in the war. We need doctors that are going to help us to get well. Yes, I want to work with our doctors, Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Huyler, the whole crew, because nobody could tell me that I wasn't going to be doing to help and to clean out the hospital. And I'm serious. And I know all the doctors. And it's time that we get our Bahamas well. And I want to thank you all for having me. It's something called spirulina.
What's that for?
Spirulina is a food that we're supposed to have that heals the body for cholesterol, for triglycerides, for high blood pressure, for practically everything that ails the body. The only thing is we have this taste problem. It doesn't bother me with taste because I know what it's going to do for me. It also keeps us young. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see Mr. Times, he's 93. And he is better than practically most Bahamians. And as I said, he's been coming to my office from 1975. And I don't know why we have to be using a cane and a crutch. Because we allow our bodies to deteriorate. We are supposed to have muscles that we put adipose tissue called fat. And there's so much that we can tell because, as you heard, colloidal silver, colloidal silver, colloidal silver. I have some here. Colloidal silver is one of the best antibiotics you've ever seen. If I tell you what it does, you will not believe what I say. But right off the top, it says resistant strain. So when they spoke about dengue, I smiled because I don't know what dengue is. I call it dengue boat. Very serious. Because there's some things that happen that I cannot understand. And you got to ask Father one day to get together so we could talk. I want Dr. Hamilton, like you said, here and here, but we're talking together for the best that the humans can have. But we must know that colloidal silver will take care of many conditions, like AIDS, like herpes, like the worst of worst, because that's what I use for dengue. And we use it for practically everything, cuts, burns, bruises, asthma, you name it. And I would vouch to say it must be quality. Everything we deal with is quality.
Doc, I wish to ask a question that Mrs. Sands raised in the back. The same one that I would have mentioned to you in the office. That when you speak about not having something, giving us what to have. And so she just asked the question, not to, because I'm sure many a person's eyes would have become wide open when you spoke about something as simple as insure. And so the substitute, that which you ought to use when you eliminate, because we all got to eat it.
Yes, Father. This is Ensure. This is all your fruits, all your vegetables, etc. And we make it for you. And you take it right then. Dr. Bethel did not tell you that you had a coconut. You have a coconut. And once that coconut is together, you have no problems. Break the coconut and leave it for 6 hours. And then try and drink it after that. What happens? Only 6 hours and it's spoiled? Does that tell you something? So, anytime you have something that's very good, you cannot hold it long because it becomes rancid. So when you fix it, you have to drink it. This is breakfast, lunch, supper. And it's because your cells cry for food. You don't feed the outside of the body. That's why you have acne and eczema. Because you're not feeding the cells. That same potato chip and that same cheese doodle, the body don't even know what it is. So, this is what we make. We use spirulina, we use kelp, we use pumpkin seeds. The colloidal silver is our one number antibiotic for everything. But it's making up the foods from whether it's blueberries, whether it's the blackberry, whatever, raspberries, and so on. And sometimes we mulch it. Ladies and gentlemen, do not use cow milk. I will show you how to do that. But again, like I said, there are so many things that we have to go over. So many things we have to learn. And if we have the format, we can sit down because the first thing that we have to learn all over again is menu, what to eat. My mother told me to use Colgate. Colgate is rat poison. Toothpaste is rat poison. That's what we've been brushing our teeth with all the time. We use antiperspirant deodorant. Why are ladies having so much breast cancer? That's only one part of it. Because you stop sweating under the arm so you don't sweat. So you clog everything in, then suddenly you have a lump. Where do you have the lump? And then where else you have the lump? Under the breast, beside the breast, where else you have a lump?
In the lung.
So why are you having the lump under your arm? Everything clog up. So we'll have to try and get us together as far as getting this menu so you know what to eat. That has to happen because we're eating artificial. You remember Robin Hood flour, the rats will eat it? Put down some flour today and the rat will run over it. So ensure that you're giving your older parents, you have to add to it. That's what happens. You either add or take away. When you add, then you put the nutritional substance to it. As it is right now, they tell you, yeah, we got this in it and that in it. It's not true. I can prove it to you. So we'll have to fix that as far as the menu is concerned. Any other questions?
When can I get a shot of you one now?
Anytime.
Bahamian bananas, are they different to the ones we import?
We are fighting now about Bahamian bananas. Where did bananas come from? That was my first question. And we have gone on the internet and we're looking and we're fighting right now because they're telling me that banana comes from a seed. The plantain that we like, and our Bahamian banana, and somebody brought me the hog banana. The hog banana ain't no good. Now, we came to Bahamian banana, and I tested Bahamian banana. And they say the banana comes from a seed. Nobody can tell me, nobody has been able to tell me now for 3 years about a banana having a seed, or what they call a seed, and we're going to try to plant a banana from a seed. Beg what, ma'am?
Never seen any banana seed.
I'm only saying, we're trying to find out. You're asking me a question. So I'm working very hard. That's why we're talking about this research business. And here it is. I said the banana isn't any good. And then I went and I got our banana. And when I looked at our banana, we have the same situation. So we spoke about the Chiquita banana, which we love so much and which is so yellow. And somebody spoke about that yesterday. But you don't know that that same pretty yellow banana is full of gas. And that's how you can see it so pretty and so yellow and so orangey, because to get it here to Nassau, I tell you what I know now, I tell you what I think. They put it in a, say it again? They put it in a chamber, and then you tell them, I want it chinchy yellow. Why? Because it has to travel over the water to get here. And while it's coming over, it's getting ripe. So when you get it now, she's chinchy green, chinchy yellow. But every day, it's getting better and better and better. And the gas is keeping it and keeping it and keeping it. So you're not getting the kinds of nutrition that you really think you're getting. But we Bahamians, we don't want our own banana. We want that gassy banana. So again, you're dealing chemically. So that's bananas, and I'm still looking, I'm still working on it, and we're going to try to grow banana from seed. If that ever happens, you'll know, you'll be the first to know.
I wish on behalf of all of you to thank Doc for coming and sharing with us. I want to say to you that he's a generous fellow, because every morning when I go, he just shares food, and the only thing, I don't think Doc does chew anything other than some special eggs one morning I had. That's the first time I chew, because everything else I had breakfast with him so many mornings, and it's all drink. And then he turned around, and I know, like on Friday when I left from here with that good stew counter. And I reached by him, and I had... But I'm trying to say to you, I want you all to watch with me, because if come Christmas and I still got it, blame him, eh?
Thank you.
We have a water.
Mr. Huyler, you mentioned that we mustn't use blender and things like that in our tea.
Don't
What
use
about the
it,
white
period.
sugar? That is a no-no. What about the brown sugar?
What's the difference?
Well, I think that is what we are trying to find out, because in my house, we have both. And I don't use the brown sugar nor the white sugar. I put prunes or craisins in my tea.
Well, I think you're on the right track.
Thank you.
Because number one, let's say if you have white sugar, how do you get the brown sugar?
Well, all of them are,
You think they put some color in it?
most likely, yes.
I bet you if you go to Cuba and get their sugar cane sugar, you'll see a whole different kind of sugar, like you'll see our salt. You know what our salt look like, right?
Yes, yes.
And I guarantee you, if you see Cuba sugar, it'll be a different sugar. Most of this, the most intriguing situation that we have is this 100%. Let me give you an example. Capri Sun, 100% juice. That is not 100% juice. America says 5% to 15% real juice, you can call it 100% natural. So this is what we have to watch out for. So make your own, and just like you say, using the pro and everything else, then you'll see that you're getting what you're supposed to have. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you.
the Bahamas is now talking about backyard farming. Go back to your backyard farming so you get your own tomatoes, so you know that you're not taking any kinds of chemicals, and we're getting the foods that we used to have, and we're not getting this fibroids and all the other problems that we're being confronted with. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Huyler, I wonder if you could give us an example of a home cooked meal, cooked meal, not something that you put in the blender. No, I could deal with the blender pan. In fact, I chew it myself. Like pumpkin seeds and all those other things. I love to chew them. Okay? It's a good snack in between. Now, I'm not telling you I'm having it for breakfast, but I want to know what we can think of as a home-cooked meal, you know, like for a dinner or lunch, something hot.
You're going to start with your soups.
Yeah.
You're going to start with your boiled fish. Mind you, when you do boiled fish with Dr. Al, I only drink the juice, you know.
Pardon me?
When you do boiled fish, I don't eat the fish, you know. Now, when you put the onions and all those things in it, then I take that, but you all eat the fish, I have the juice.
Why don't you eat the fish?
Why should I?
From my understanding, fish is one of the best things for you to eat.
I've brought a lot of materials that you're asking me, and you will see that the things that we do not eat is so much more nutritious than the things that we are eating. For example, the fish has some protein, you know. But you know what has more protein than the fish? Your nuts, your almonds. Far superior if you're talking protein. And if you grind it up, you can make the milk from your coconuts and those and those.
I love those things.
Exactly. So this is where you're getting it from, but we're not eating nuts. And in America, they're now showing you that they're saying dump the junk because they are in so many problems. So when you get it, you fix your vegetable soup, not the one in the can, because now you're going into MSG. Not the broth. Not the brulin that's in the can, because again you're dealing poisons. And that's why we're getting sick. And it affects diabetes big time. And you think you're doing something good, but it is just counterproductive. So when you look at the foods, yes, we got, Johns Hopkins is, I think, the first medically inclined institution that's doing foods. And it's nutritious food so that when you're finished, and you do the work with the individual, they're testing positive as far as good health because of nutrition. But the majority of other places, you're not getting that. Grits, corned beef, the steaming and all those type of things, and the oils that you're using, all that does is give you the bad cholesterol. So what are we going to have to do? This stemming from our stuff, Dr. Hamilton and everybody of us got to get together and start fixing for us so that we know what to eat.
Now, I heard you say grits. Now.
You ain't home on the island eating your grits.
No, that's what I want you.
Go home on the island and fix your grits. You go into the store buying your grits.
I'm asking you, when you say grits, you're referring to that formula and all that.
You buying the grits.
Right, that's what I asked.
That's what you talking about.
So you say that you get rid of that.
No. Yeah. Go. I said, let's go back home. And you say backyard. Is it backyard?
The other grits then.
So don't fight me. Go ahead then.
So, okay, go ahead.
How about the bread man? You know, we don't buy bread man here. I just want you to say something on that.
You ever been to Jungle? You ever been to Jungle?
Many times.
You ever faced a costume?
No song.
You ever faced a costume?
Yes, I have.
What you face it with? We can get to that one.
Go ahead, sir.
Dr. Huyler, you mentioned backyard gardening. What effect does the usage of fertilizer have on these plants?
Devastating. You're going to insecticides, pesticides, the whole 90 yards. I started, Dr. Huyler went bankrupt. You know why? The government said, we're going to encourage you to farm. So I started farming. And not only did the Bahamians steal everything you farm, and it was very good. But there's also something called elements, whether it's the wind, the hurricane. And my father and I had a sweet pepper, a tomato, cucumber, you name it. You call them seedlings. And we had a bed, and the bed was as big as this room. And it was so pretty. And Daddy and I left that day, and we were Jordan in that bed, because we were going to take the stuff up the next day to transplant. And when we went there the next morning, everything was gone. Say it again? Well, I thought it was stolen initially, but it was so wide and it wasn't dug up or anything of that nature. So Daddy and I said, what happened? Where it is? Where it gone? And they couldn't do it that quick. It was too many. And we had to sit down and think and think and think, and we couldn't come up with an answer. I knew every farmer. I could go to them and say, but it wasn't dug up. What do you think happened? Somebody said it, the snails took every piece of seedling that we had. And them things you think so slow, did so much damage, it was totally incredible. They wiped the whole bed out. So those are the things that, so when people tell you about organic, I'm going to tell you, it is not 100% organic, but it's to the best that they can do. And when they fertilize arsenic and everything, like when they spray, you're getting some of that. Yes, ma'am.
Hold on 1 minute, please. You still have a question?
No, I talk about the snails, because the snails, they eat the tomatoes, they eat the okra, everything.
Okay. Now, Rocky.
See, I missed portion of the, I missed the first portion of the section yesterday, so I don't know where some of these things were said then. But what I want to know is, okay, you mentioned fish, but what about the other meats that we normally would eat as Bahamians?
Now, if you're going to eat your Long Island meat and your mutton, but y'all ain't doing that anymore.
Yeah, but it wasn't exactly our fault. All the hurricanes just did it.
No, we're talking about your meat now.
Yeah, what I'm saying
So,
it don't,
but you know, we've
get
stopped,
much now.
but we've stopped this native eating, right? So now I want each one of you that deal with this computer business, go and look up red slime today before you eat your meat. And then go and look and Google red, R-E-D, S-L-I-M-E, red slime. And
That's
then
what they call our meat?
Ma'am, I had a butcher come to me because I said something on the radio. And he said, Doc, I ain't gonna tell nobody else, but we just have to clean the green off the meat y'all that be buying out the store. You know what that green is? It come all the way from New Zealand. So if it come from New Zealand, how long it take to get here? So if it take a couple of weeks to get here, then they gotta come through the container port, and then they gotta come to the store, and then they gotta sit and sit and sit. What y'all eating again?
Rotten meat.
You're eating rotten meat.
What about the chicken and the turkey?
If you do it yourself, we're not doing it anymore.
What about the chicken and the turkey?
If you do it yourself, if you feed the chicken and you feed your turkey, don't give them the growth hormone, don't give them the arsenic, don't. When you cut on a light, you know if you don't cut that light off, that chicken don't sleep. So you keep the chicken up, you give him the arsenic, you give him the growth hormone, you give him the steroids. Why do you think our children have breasts at 7 years, our girls have breasts at 7 years old?
Hormones.
And the steroids. So that is what is happening.
So what you guys do is pan the chicken up and feed them the food that you
That's what my grandmother used to do and used to wring the neck.
I remember that.
Okay.
In the interest of time, I will sit with Father, with Dr. Hamilton and Dr. Huyler, come up with a sort of area which the two can bring much light for us as a people to live a healthier, stronger, better life. And then we will set a time. Obviously, in the center of the service is not that. When we can come together and be educated so that we can live more productive, wholesome lives. Because it comes from this, my brothers and sisters. When we are healthy, we can praise our God better.